What's up, everybody? I'm back with Andre, and today we're talking about some stuff in the e-commerce space and just Facebook advertising in general as well. Like I said, we're going to be doing these podcasts hopefully every week with Andre. He's a man in e-commerce and kills it with Google ads and Facebook ads. So I'm going to be asking him a couple of questions today, and I'll be bouncing off some info based off what he says on the questions I ask him as well. So we'll be going back and forth, just talking some stuff about Facebook ads, Google ads, and e-commerce. And the first question I kind of have for you today, Andre, is how are you testing new ads on Facebook? That's, I think, one of the biggest things with Facebook advertising is testing new ads. So how are you testing new ads when it comes to Facebook?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So back in the days, or like a couple of months, couple of years ago, we always had a separate testing campaign where it was like on ABO setup, so ad set, budget optimization, and we would use that campaign only for creative testing or testing new ads. For some brands, we still have some of those campaigns, but nowadays we usually don't like having a separate testing campaign. Nowadays the algorithm is so good that we've seen the best performance by just putting the new creatives inside our like main campaign, inside the scaling campaign with like CBO, campaign budget optimization, or sometimes even an Advantage Plus um, campaign, and then just look whether the algorithm will start spending on those new ads or not. Because sometimes if you already have like very high performing ads that are spending a lot and you add new ads to that campaign, Meta will just not spend anything. And in those cases, you sometimes have to put them like in a separate campaign, in a separate testing campaign. But yeah, other than that, we usually try to not separate testing campaigns and scaling campaigns and just have one big campaign where we put all our ads inside.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I know a lot of people do like dynamic creative tests, or they even do the new flexible version as well inside the actual ad level. Are you doing kind of any of that where you're testing, let's say, multiple ad creatives inside one ad level, where it's, you change the headline or you change the image, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a huge fan of dynamic creatives and testing using dynamic creatives. So we usually have a campaign and then, for example, 3 to 5 different ad sets based on a advertising style or advertising angle or a specific style of creative. And then inside each of those ad sets, we have one dynamic ad with 3 to 5 different creatives. And then also like usually around 3 headlines, 3 body copies. Um, yeah. And they're all basically from the same like style. For example, UGC style or static style. And then that's one like dynamic ad set. And then we test those ad sets. And then once we figured out like what is the best performing combination from the dynamic ad, we take the ad ID from that and can use that for other campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're only putting one DCT into one ad set, correct?
Yes,
So you're
yes.
not putting that in your scaling ad set.
Sometimes, but usually it's separate
Yeah, you're
to
putting it in your
see.
scaling
Yeah,
ad set after you get that post ID, and you'll throw it in there because it's winning, right? It's doing well. It's making you money. Throw it in the scaling ad set. Let Facebook put more money behind it, right?
yeah, exactly. Sometimes we also put like the dynamic creative ad set directly in like the main campaign, but oftentimes it ends up not scaling at like not spending enough compared to the other ads. Um, yeah, so you always have to play around with that and see what works.
Gotcha. And are you splitting off the budget for this? Like, so is 80% going off into the scaling campaign? Is 20% going towards like the DCTs and testing? Like, are you splitting that up, or you're just letting Facebook do all the splitting of the money for you?
We let mostly Facebook manage it. Their algorithm is very smart,
Yep.
and they know. Oftentimes, they know more than we do nowadays. To be honest, And if we notice that if we give them room to play, or the algorithm to use the budget, then it ends up working pretty good usually. Sometimes we have to add like certain restrictions or certain limits for different ad sets. Yeah, but usually we let Meta do its thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Sweet. What I'm gonna ask you this as well, and this is kind of interesting, is I think a lot of business owners get this wrong, and me and you were talking about it earlier, where a lot of new business owners that start advertising on Facebook start sending their traffic just to their homepage and expect people to purchase or become a lead, whatever it may be, right? So when you're advertising on Facebook, where are you sending the traffic to, right? Because obviously you're optimizing for whether it's leads, traffic, sales, whatever it may be. But where are you sending the people to based off, let's say, their objective?
Yeah, yeah. So for e-commerce, we're pretty much always optimizing for sales, and that's the only thing that matters for us. We don't really care about traffic, about leads. Like sometimes there are like certain campaigns or certain objectives where it might make sense, but in 99 out of 100 cases, we optimize for sales. And for that, sending the traffic to the homepage is usually the worst thing that you can do. And that's what we also see a lot of businesses make wrong, because on the homepage, there's usually so much stuff going on, like so many distractions, so many different paths that the user can take. They have like the menu, they have everything. Like there is no clear path which way they should go, and the customer journey is not clear for the user. So usually they end up clicking around a little bit, scrolling around a little bit, and then just bouncing, going back to Facebook, to Instagram, and just continue scrolling. So usually it makes significantly more sense to send them at least to the collection page or to the product page, but depending on like what you're advertising or what the ad is showing, like sometimes it makes sense to send them to the product page, sometimes it doesn't. That is already better, but in the best case scenario, you have like a designated landing page for cold traffic where you can send the traffic to from the ads, to have higher chances of having them buy something.
Yeah. I know that when one brand that we worked with, we were doing just sending people to collection pages, right? And I looked the conversion rate. I'm like, our conversion rate's 0.8%, or well, it was like 1%, whatever it was. And I'm like, I think we can make a bunch more money if we just make some ads around the actual product themselves and some to the product landing pages. And I'll take the top 10 products, the best selling products that we have, and advertise those. And I did that, and in 1 month, I saw our revenue increase. I think it was like 40%, and our conversion rate increased like 40%. So, I mean, it was just a great sight to see, because it was like, okay, like this is true, like you said, where, if you're sending people to just a homepage or a collection page, probably a little more likely to bounce, right? Versus you're sending them just directly to the product page. They're now looking at the product, looking at the details of the product, seeing what people see, seeing what people said on the testimonials, and making a decision now where it's like, should I buy this? Should I not buy this? Versus having so much input from a collection page where it's like, okay, this t-shirt's kind of cool, this t-shirt's kind of cool, or hey, this hat's kind of cool, whatever it may be, where it's a single decision where it's, should I buy this, yes or no? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as you mentioned, those are huge differences. Like you had exactly the same traffic, but like 40% higher conversion rate, and therefore like 40% more revenue, which is like life-changing for a lot of businesses. So that's definitely something like every business should be consistently testing and improving on, and really figuring out like how can they make the most money from like every visitor that comes to their website. And I mean, with Google Analytics and everything, you can see like on which page did someone land on the first time, and like how was his journey, and did he end up buying or not. And you can see that, for example, if someone lands on the home page as the first page, the revenue per visitor is, for example, 50 cents. But if someone lands on the product page as the first page, then the revenue per site visitor could be $1 or $2. And if you look at that data and also continue like testing, then you can see where you should send the traffic to and how you can optimize it.
Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant. That makes total sense where you should be optimizing for all that stuff. I tell people all the time, there's really 3 things you should focus on when optimizing for Facebook ads. This is nothing about Google ads here, but your CPMs, your conversion rate, and your click-through rate. If you're too high on one, you're probably not making a lot of money on Facebook ads. If you're doing all right on all 3, you're probably making a little money. If you're doing great on all 3, you're probably doing really fucking good.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of brands either struggle with one where it's like their CPMs are through the fucking roof, or their conversion rates at like a 0.5%, or their CTR is at like 1%, which is like a benchmark standard. But we like to see it be a 3 or 4%. So
yeah. What's the highest CPM that you ever saw on a brand?
For my business running B2B, probably around like $90 CPMs.
Damn, that's high.
Yeah, that is really freaking high.
2 or 3 weeks ago, I audited a brand, an e-commerce brand, and they had CPMs of $130.
What?
Or 120, 130. That's
How?
crazy. They're targeting, like, nothing was good. Like, their targeting wasn't good. Their creatives and copy wasn't good, and their landing page, their website was completely terrible. Yeah, and it was like in the beauty industry, which tends to usually have like higher CPMs, but that's like $120 is completely crazy.
That's outrageous, dude. That's unreal that they had $120 CPM. I mean,
yeah, that's
like
more expensive than running
CPM or $50 CPM for some of my clients. I'm like, when you get this lower, but like 130.
That's more expensive than advertising on LinkedIn or something.
Yeah, no, literally. Wow. Another question here. What has been your experience with advertorials? I know I've ran an advertorial in the past. Now, it wasn't directly to, let's say, a Shopify website. It was to an Amazon site, and it didn't go well for me. But I think you've had a little bit more success with advertorials than me, and I would like to hear kind of your opinion on that, and if people should even be doing it. Is it even worth it?
Yeah. So advertorials are great, and they can perform really good for certain industries and for certain brands. Like, not every brand should do them. Advertorials work great for products that need a lot of explanation and a lot of like selling behind it, because in the end, advertorials are like long form sales letters where you have like a lot of text, a lot of information. It looks like a news article, but in the end, you're selling a product. So, for example, an industry where it works great is everything like medical related, everything supplement related. Also in the pet industry, I've seen it work really good. So those are the industries where it works great. We've tested it for a couple of brands. I'm not an expert on advertorials. We've had some decent results with it, but I would say for most brands, in the beginning they should focus more on having like a really good product page, a good like landing page with the product where they're selling it directly, and where they just like send people to the website and they convert directly. Yeah. Advertorials are more when you've used up all of that like bottom of the funnel, like the whole bottom of the funnel audience, like people where it's enough for them to see a good ad, go to the website and they buy. Advertorials capture people who are farther away in the customer journey and like colder, and then through all the copy, you can like guide them through the customer journey and get them to a point where they're ready to buy. But for that, you need a lot of like copywriting experience. You have to know exactly who your customer is, who the target audience is. And yeah, there are a lot of things that need to be really good for advertorials to work. It's not as easy as some people make it seem.
Yeah, no, I agree. I did one and it didn't go well. So I haven't done one since because we haven't had the need to. Like you said, like I think it really works well for those in niches that are really hard to explain, like medical or dog food, the pet industry, whatever it may be. And that's where you kind of need it. Like, for example, the one that I did was for a supplement, which totally makes sense. You got to explain it. You got to explain how it works. You got to explain how it's going to change, your life or make you healthier, whatever it may be, right? But
And it's a little bit similar to, there are like some e-commerce brands that are crushing it with video sales letters,
yeah,
which is also quite new, I would say. I mean, there are like those old school like video sales letters selling like scammy products, scammy supplements. But right now I feel like it's coming back, or I've heard from a couple of agencies that are crushing it by creating like video sales letters for e-commerce brands and then sending the traffic to those videos. And it's pretty similar to advertorials. It's just that you record a video of someone basically reading the advertorial or telling the story, and then giving enough information to guide someone from like unaware of the product and unaware of the solution, and then guide them through the customer journey to where they're at, guide them to where they're ready to buy the product.
yeah. I mean, it's just you're sending them from one ad to another ad, right? Just this ad's more like a commercial. I mean, that would make that. That's probably the best way to explain it, right? What has been your experience with running catalog ads on Facebook, though? I know I've been running catalog ads for two businesses that we work with. One's in the clothing industry and one's in the drink industry. They both do really well. And I have a theory on this where it's like if you run catalog ads and you have a pretty good, strong following and you are cranking ad spend, you're going to make money on your catalog ads because Facebook's just retargeting everybody that clicked off your ads and they went to your website and never purchased. They're just retargeting those people and then also sending them to your audience, right? And then also it's easier for someone to purchase off the Facebook shop rather than your actual shop because they get more data information from the Facebook shop rather than your Shopify shop. With the new iOS updates, iPhone sends no information back to Facebook. So they're, in the dark most of the time with Shopify conversions being sent back to Facebook, your Facebook data set. So they get a bunch of more information from the Facebook shop rather than, Shopify.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of dynamic product ads and product feed ads in general. I mean, on Google, they're also like very big, like the shopping ads, but on Meta as well. It doesn't work for all businesses, for all industries. As you mentioned, like apparel is great.
Yeah.
We've also a client from the apparel industry where the dynamic ads are crushing it. There's like one dynamic ad that when I checked it a couple of days ago, it has like $30,000 in ad spend at a like 10x return ad spend over the last couple of months. And that's just like one ad created, like one basic dynamic ad.
Yeah.
And with that business, it's very design centric and very like, they're basically selling normal t-shirts, but with really cool designs on it. And they have like 300 different designs. And the customers, they only buy those t-shirts because of the designs. So if you have a catalog ad where the user can just scroll through all the designs and look at the like funny t-shirts or cool looking t-shirts. And recently when I got served a catalog ad, it had like 30 slides, like 30 different product designs. And if you get someone to engage with the ad and like scroll through it and see 30 different designs, the chances are really high that the person will like at least one of those designs. And then they will obviously like click the ad, go to the website, look at it, maybe buy straight away, maybe not, but at least they will be like in the funnel, in the business. They've been to the website, they know the brand, and then we can like retarget them with other ads. Yeah. So for those kinds of businesses, it works really well. And other than that, I totally agree with you. It's really good for like retargeting existing audiences or existing customers, because they already know, like, and trust the brand, and they don't need a lot of information to convince them. They just want to see the products. They want to see like how the products look like, and that's enough for them to go to the website and buy it. But if it's like a completely new cold audience, and it's a product that needs explanation, or that needs, where you need to like show the unique selling propositions, then catalog ads are usually not the best way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 1000%. Where you can't just run catalog ads for, a supplement. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to want to purchase that just because they have no clue what the supplement does. So it's hard for them to, get the information they need from a catalog ad. But shifting into the next thing here, when you're setting up campaigns on Facebook, are you doing Advantage Plus or are you doing a manual campaign? I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people are starting to do Advantage Plus shopping campaign, right, for e-commerce. But the way I still set everything up is a manual campaign. So I kind of want to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, that's a tough question, and that's where everyone has a completely different opinion nowadays. I'm still a big, like, if I would have to choose only one, then I would go with a manual campaign still, and I still just like it more, and the overall performance is usually better from the manual campaign, even though the return on ad spend on the Advantage Plus or Advantage Plus campaign oftentimes looks higher. And to explain that is, like, with Advantage Plus, Meta focuses a lot on converting as many people as possible and getting as many people to buy as possible. And that leads to them targeting a lot of like bottom of the funnel and doing a lot of remarketing, because those are people where Meta knows that they will buy in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, and where the chances that if they see an ad that they will buy is really high. And that's why the return ad spend might look good. But in reality, that leads to you spending significantly less on cold audiences, and therefore, in the long run, the business will really struggle with acquiring new customers and getting new customers into the business. So if we look at Triple Whale, for example, the tracking tool that we use with a lot of brands, we see that the return ad spend on Advantage Plus campaigns is higher. But if you look at the new customer return ad spend and like how many new customers you acquired, it's a lot lower, because Meta tries to remarket as much as possible and just like reacquire existing customers and get them to repurchase, just because it's way easier to get someone who already bought before to get them to rebuy. But for the long term, for the business growth, it's not ideal, and it doesn't lead to that much like incremental revenue to the business.
Yeah. I could totally see how Facebook's trying to retarget a bunch of people. That's why when I'm setting up a manual campaign inside my ad set, obviously I let Facebook do all the targeting for me. It's a CBO campaign, but I add in custom audience where we don't target anybody that purchased in the last 30 days, right? Because I don't want it to retarget people. I want it to find new people. So I want my new customer ROAS to be really good, and then I can run a retargeting campaign later down the line. So that's what, and you probably do the exact same thing if I had to assume.
Exactly, yeah. And nowadays, Meta added the feature where on the Advantage Plus campaign, you can tell them how much you want to spend on like existing audiences and so-called engaged audiences. So people who engage with your business
Just
but haven't bought
retargeting,
before.
basically.
Exactly. And with that, you can limit how much they will do that. And I think that will improve the advantage, the performance of the Advantage Plus shopping campaign. Even though so far I've seen it that even if we completely try to exclude existing customers and tell Meta we only want to focus on new customers, it still ends up getting us existing customers.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, that makes complete sense. Where, Facebook is so good, it's going to do what it's best at and make you money, right? And that is going to be having a high ROAS, getting as much purchases as you can into your site, or as much leads as you want into your site, and bring in all those people and all. But at the end of the day, it's not going to work at scale because it's retargeting so many people. So you can't put a lot of ad spend behind it, or else it's going to fail, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
I mean, that's why I think me and you still kind of do the manual campaign where we can scale it. You can spend, like you said, 60 grand in a month, 80 grand in a month, 100 grand in a month on this campaign, and it's still reaching out and finding new people inside the campaign. So, that's all I really have for you today on questions. So, you're the man.
Yeah.
I appreciate
You
it.
You too.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Well, thank you, Andrej. I enjoyed having you on, and we'll hopefully do this again next week.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right. Let Andrej.